I did make a post-election video a couple days after the presidential election was decided, and I didn't edit it and I didn't post it. And a few days later, I'm kind of glad that I didn't. In that video, I was really upset, angry, personally hurt, and a little afraid. And now I've kind of had some days to digest things and really think about what has happened. So basically, I am among the people who was really shocked and upset by the outcome of not just the presidential election, but the elections that took place last week in this country in general. I felt very personally hurt by it, which is not a way, I don't think it's a normal way, honestly, to feel about an election. I usually like to think that I'm not petty enough to, I don't know, feel personally hurt when my candidate doesn't win. But I felt that when this president-elect made the ticket. The morning of and the day after, I kept seeing posts on social media and things just from my friends and everywhere on the internet, posts from minorities who were saying that if someone who voted for Donald Trump said that they loved them, then they couldn't accept that anymore. Or to say that the people who voted for this man to become president didn't love them as a person or didn't care about them as a person. They weren't a good friend to them. And in the day after the election, and even the day after, that really resonated with me because I felt it to be true. And I really felt that all the people I knew that I was sure voted for Donald Trump, whom I knew probably before the election maybe were going to, I felt that those people didn't care about me. And I felt personally hurt by their lack of understanding of the consequences of electing a man who has been spewing such volatile rhetoric for the past year and a half. But since then, I think what I've realized is that love and care and friendship are far more complicated than that. To assume that someone doesn't care about me because they cast their vote a certain way, I think is really dangerous. The thought occurred to me that perhaps we're not lacking love, but we're lacking empathy. And perhaps it is not the fault of those who voted despite the rhetoric, because the bigotry that was portrayed was not a deal breaker for them. Perhaps it's not because they maliciously had intent to hurt the people he has attacked, but perhaps it was because they didn't understand the effect of that action or the effect of this outcome will have. I think as in the days following, I'm watching protests and I'm hearing people want to march and I'm hearing about wanting to change the electoral college vote. These all seem to me maybe to be a little bit hypocritical, because although I would like to count myself among like the liberal populations who overwhelmingly vote Democratic, the truth is that when you put the more conservative populations in a box, although I don't agree with most of the things that they say, I am still one of those people because I still was raised in small town America and I call this place my home, even though I feel a lot less welcome here than I did last week. And maybe I'll still post that really angry video that I made just for completion's sake. And maybe I'll try to sift through and edit that and put it together anyways. But I think this more important video that I'm making right now is the argument that oftentimes the hardest thing is also the right thing to do. And I think the right thing to do right now is to listen to the people who have felt unheard and not go up in arms against them. Because if we assume that this group of people is against us and doesn't care about us, we negate the fact that they are also human and that they are complicated, and we make their not caring about us an effective reality. I really want to fight that from becoming a reality. I actually think medical school, as stressful as it always is, has been able to help me with that. Because as I study the diseases of white and red blood cells, I am reminded that whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or a man or a woman or black or white, you have leukocytes and neutrophils, and you have a heart, and you have a circulatory system, and you have a brain with lobes and gyri. All of these people are capable of acquiring diseases that will be treated similarly, even though patients are all individuals, but similarly regardless. Medicine is so humanizing because disease doesn't discriminate very often. It's so important for, I think, for us to realize that humans are complicated, and even the humans that you despise, you want to despise, you cannot despise them. Because the second that you let yourself despise even the person who despises you, you become a little less of a human. And so, I'll say it again, we're not lacking love or care in this country. There are quite a bit of feelings, and we all have hearts capable of caring, that do care. What we're lacking is empathy and understanding. I remain a firm believer that a lack of empathy is the cause and root of every evil there is in this world. I'm going to do everything that I can in my power every day to help close that gap.